All right, folks. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just to start off, my name is Eliel Acosta. So I'm an assistant director of admissions here at Johns Hopkins within the School of Education. And I specifically support individuals who are looking at the MS in counseling. So we're excited to have you today. And today's session is going to be more of a student panel. So we have four current counseling students here at the School of Education who have gracefully given us some of their time here this evening to share their insights and experiences as a student here in the program. But before we get started, I just want to kind of do some house cleaning items here. I'll give a quick overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education, and then at that point, I'll read briefly the mission statement of the program, and then we'll go into the panelist introductions, where at that point, I'll ask every panelist to introduce themselves, and then we'll go into a Q&A. Now, the nature of these types of sessions, right, I've created based on some of the questions that you all inputted in the registration form, but also just from past experience, some kind of written questions just to get started off. But as we kind of go through tonight's program, please feel more than welcome to submit your Q&A or your questions in the Q&A function here on Zoom. Um, the other piece that I do want to let folks know is that this session is being recorded, and we will send it out to the registration list whether or not you attended tonight's session. So if you wanted to look back at the session at a later date, you just keep an eye out for an email from me directly within the next few business days. But just to kind of get started off here, right, Johns Hopkins University, America's first research university, more than 24,000 undergrad and graduate students are enrolled in our 9 schools, and the School of Education is one of those 9 schools. For 36 years, we've put more money into research than any other U.S. academic institution. We are also globally focused, right? Whether it's our student body, our faculty conducting research, training, and related activities, right? More than in 150 countries. So, just kind of a quick overview of Johns Hopkins University as a whole. But when you look at the School of Education, you'll see here this pie graph that gives you kind of a quick snapshot of the School of Ed, of an enrollment of just over 1,000 students. We have 10 master's programs, one of them being counseling, 2 doctoral programs, and 2 graduate certificates. We have 109 full-time faculty. We typically award 500 awards, or not awards, degrees annually, and a growing an alumni of 25,000. Um, Now, when it comes to counseling, and for today's session, we're not really going to go into the layout of the program, right? This is more of a student panel or an opportunity for you to hear student experiences. At the very end of the session, I will share my appointment calendar, and also for international students, we are hosting 2 sessions every month in the morning, hopefully, to help accommodate your time zone, and I'll share that link for that specific webinar. But just to kind of keep us moving here, the mission statement for the MS in Counseling program, right, is the mission of the Johns Hopkins School of Education Counseling Program is to prepare graduate students to serve as socially just school counselors and clinical mental health counselors who implement theoretical, empirical, and practical frameworks that facilitate client growth and development, introspective awareness, and well-being in a global society. So I like to start off with a mission statement because it speaks to who we are as a program, but also it does help as I talk with every prospective student as you prepare your application to look at our mission statement and reflect based on your experience, both personal and professional, on how you align with who we are as a program. But again, kind of moving forward here, I don't want to take too much time of this hour, is the counseling student panel. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let One by one, our panelists just introduce themselves. So Ashna, I know you were one of our panelists last year, so that's why I put you first. So hopefully you can kind of set the example for the rest of our panelists. But if you could just give a brief overview on who you are here at the School of Education, right? Your year and where you're from, and then we'll move on to the next panelist.
Awesome. Happy to. Hi, I'm super happy to be here again. That's me. That's also me. I'm Ashna. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm in my third year of clinical mental health track, which is one of the two tracks that we offer here at Hopkins. The other one's school counseling. I'm originally from New Delhi, India. I moved to the US about 2.5 years ago for this program. I'm a full-time student, so I will be graduating next year in May. Super excited for that. I'm currently the director of operations for CSI, which is our academic society, and I served as the international students rep last year. So I've been with the society for about 2 years now, and I was a member in my first year, so I've really latched on to the fun side of this program also. Apart from that, I also work as a tutor at the Writing Center every Sunday, which is honestly so much fun, just helping guide students with their concerns about assessments, program stuff. But yeah, I've also been a TA for like more than 5, 6 times, so I absolutely love questions, and I'm super happy to be here, answer anything, because I know how reassuring it is to hear from someone who's on the other side of this program. So absolutely happy to be here. But yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Ashna. So moving on, we are going to go over to Lancelot. So Lancelot, if you could just introduce yourself.
Yeah, awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Lancelot, and my Chinese name is Yuan. So I use she, her pronouns, and I'm in school counseling track. Currently, I'm a second year student, so I didn't start my practicum or internship yet. So currently, I'm also doing SSI and the International Student Committee chair. So I'm also a research assistant on several qualitative studies. Yeah, nice to see you guys.
Thank you, Lancelot. So moving forward, we'll go on to Sylvain.
Hey everyone, my name is Sylvan. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am also on the clinical mental health counseling track, and I'm a second year. I'm originally from Arlington, VA, but my roots do go back to Nice, France, just because that's where my parents are from, and that's where all of my family still remains. I am currently serving as the treasurer of CSI, and I'm also a member of the Spirituality and Mindfulness Club here at Hopkins, especially amongst our other counseling cohort members. But aside from all of that, I am also working as a graduate assistant for the lead office. So that just means that I have a lot of information regarding other campus activities that are available to both undergrads and graduate students alike.
Great, thanks. So last but not least is we'll go over to Leo.
Hello, sorry that the picture is it's a bit too ugly because for this computer I can't find another picture for me. Hi, my name is Runze and my nickname is Leo and my pronoun is he, him, his, and I'm a school counseling track third year students. I'm from China too, and I am a student worker in as a student the student health and wellness centers. I do like the plan and prepare and set up and to make the how say the conclusion about the activity to help the international student to like them to adaptations and to make the connection with each other. Like I see that some Chinese name in the participant list. I, I just wanted to yeah some question like okay I'm afraid about how to get into the native students group, or I'm very worried to go to the office hour. So that's the topics that we want to help them to solve and to get prepared to their career. That's it.
Right. Yeah, no, thanks, Leo. So yeah, I'm sure when we go into our questions, we'll have a lot of opportunities to share some really good advice. So just to kind of get started here, again, as folks kind of think about questions in the audience, feel free to input them in the Q&A. But like I mentioned before, I did have some kind of starting questions just to get us kind of warmed up. So for this first question, right, and for our panelist, feel free to just, if you want to go ahead and answer, go ahead and answer. At best, it would be great if we can get at least 2 responses per question. If there is a third, fourth person that wants to respond to that same question, you're more than welcome to. But just to kind of get it started off, right? Can one of you talk about, what inspired you to choose counseling as a career, and especially picking Johns Hopkins, the School of Education, as a place to receive that training?
I could, oh, do you wanna? Okay. I love this awkward Zoom silence of like 3 seconds when two people unmute at the same time. I can get started with that one because I was part of a panel like 2 weeks ago which had a similar question, and I found out a lot of people came to Hopkins because of the name of Hopkins, the brand value and the respect that it commands. But I honestly picked Hopkins because of the program it had for counseling. Um, I had I did psych in like high school, and then I did psychology and media studies in my undergrad. So I kind of was debating if I want to go the therapist and like clinical counseling route, or if I want to do something which is like marketing and media related. But I think eventually I made the choice of picking counseling, and I'm so happy I did because it honestly is like the intersection of my interest and aptitude. And having a 3 year program can be a little daunting, but it just means I have more experience and more time as a student before I get in the field. So honestly, the faculty, the international population at Hopkins was a big pro because I wanted to feel a sense of belongingness. And I feel like if I'm using the resources and references that we have here, I have sort of an upper hand in the future decisions that I make. So sort of a, I guess, mixed bag of why I picked Hopkins and counseling, but I guess personal reasons and just how the program aligned with offering something for application, because a lot of the programs were like PhD and like research based, which is not something I'm super eager for. So yeah.
Thank you, Ashna. Sylvan, I think you were going to mute yourself earlier, so I'll just put you on the spot here.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally good. I was just gonna say kind of like also similar to Ashna a little bit. Before I chose counseling, I was also kind of like playing around with like some other ideas as to where, like what road I wanted to go down. And so I was considering a lot of like research and kind of like something more along the lines of like clinical psychology at first. But then what ultimately kind of like led me to choose counseling is just I did a lot of personal self-reflection as a counselor does, go figure. But I did a lot of self-reflection in terms of where I wanted to be in the future, and I knew that I want to be able to do something that combines both practice and research. But a lot of the times, we oftentimes hear that, if you go down the clinical psych route is going to focus more on research, whereas with counseling, it can kind of open the doors and be a little bit more flexible so that you can have that opportunity to work with clients in real life, but then also choose the option to do research on the side um, according to your preferences and all of that. So that was kind of like one of the deciding factors for why I wanted to go down the route of counseling. In terms of why I chose Hopkins, I want to start by saying that I recognize that my response may be a little bit biased just because before joining the program, I took a gap year. And within that gap year, I worked at an internship site. And at that site, my supervisor actually was a recent graduate from this program at Hopkins. So she was telling me about how amazing the program was. And she connected me to some of the professors that are still here, actually. And I was able to meet with them and kind of like talk to them to kind of get their input and kind of just seeing how well spoken the faculty was and by how easily or how easy it was for all of them to answer all of my questions like efficiently and they gave me some really good like concise answers as well as to what to expect in terms of like the workload and everything. So in terms of just kind of like being able to kind of get all of that information like, I feel like that was part of the reason why I ended up choosing Hopkins, just because all of the information was made readily available and accessible to me, and also because, like, those interactions that I had in terms of, like, emailing professors or different, like, school of ed, like, administrators and things like that, everyone was very responsive, and I could also tell that there was just this vibe that was very positive and very healthy. So that was also another major, like, factor for my decision.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that, Sylvan. And yeah, no, definitely. I think, right, kind of hearing from Ashna and Sylvan, right, the Hopkins program, right, is STEM designated. So for international students, you do have that option of STEM OPT. And actually, our last class that just came in, about 40%, I believe, are international students. So we're always excited, right, that there is a great draw of international students looking at our program. Um, so before we move forward here, anyone from school counseling just want to kind of share their insight on why they chose Hopkins and why they're pursuing counseling as a career?
I can go first.
Yeah.
Well, my answer is very simple. Like I really like to help people, and my college major is psychology. When I want to apply for a master degree, I just wondering, okay, how to maybe combine with my majors and my I want to help others. So I think counseling is a good choice. But and the time to the time just shows my choice is correct. And why I choose school counseling, that's another question. Yeah. Because I think it's very meaningful for me to work with to work with the students, the students, sorry. Yeah, because I think they have the very good possibility as a child, and they are vulnerable for sometimes. So they are more need our to help them, to support them. And the why I choose JHU is that okay? First thing as Ajna and yeah, it it's about the name. JHU is one of the famous the college in no matter in the US or in the world. And also one of my best friends are get the offer from ITJL, another amazing SOE program. So I think it's a good choice for me to stay in to stay in JHU. And that's all.
Yeah, thank you, Leo.
Sorry about
Lancelot, do you want
nervous.
to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Leo. And my answer is pretty similar to you. Just like why I pursue counseling. Honestly, my interest is, in counseling comes very naturally because I have been drawn to psychology and to self-exploration for so many years. And I found that counseling not only supports my own growth, but also, give me the opportunity to help others grow too. So helping others feels like a natural inclination for me. And the counseling is really the perfect helping profession where I can combine the passion with meaningful skills. So that's pretty good. And why I want to join JHU and SOE, there were a few reasons. First, just like what you said before, this is a STEM designated program. It's really important for international students if you want to get a, you know, OPT for 3 years because you want to get your licensure, like to be as a LGPC or LPC, right? So it's really stood out to me. And second, Johns Hopkins is really famous for its research culture. Yeah, for me, research is really important because I would like to apply for PhD program after I graduation. So I wanted to be in, an environment where I could not only learn counseling skills, but also actively participate in research. Yeah. So the faculty are, so approachable and supportive because they give us a chance to reach out, during projects, and build research experiences. It's really valuable for me. I believe it's also valuable for you. So that's exactly kind of environment I want to grow in. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Lancelot. So just to kind of give some context and answer some questions here, as we move on to the next question is just real brief here. The program for the MS in counseling, whether it's clinical or school counseling, is a 3-year program if you're coming in it as a full-time student. If you are part-time, that can be completed between 4 to 5 years. 5 years would be the max time that you have, but 4 years would be kind of the traditional amount of time it takes for a part-time student. The reason why it's a 3-year program, right, is because we do courses in the fall and the spring. So students do have the summers off in this program, right? So a lot of our students may have the opportunity to pick up a few courses during the summer if they choose to do so. Some students will do research, other students will just use the time to take off, but it is structured to be a 3-year program. So to kind of hopefully that gives some context as we kind of move on what a kind of a daily life looks like for our counseling students. So for our panel here, can you share with us, right, what your class schedule looks like throughout the week, right? How many hours do you typically put in each course? And what type of kind of lecture style do faculty engage in those classrooms? So it's a little bit tougher one. And as folks are thinking here, I'll kind of just give some more additional context, right? So we offer courses Monday through Friday. There are class offerings in the mornings, afternoons, and late evenings. They are in person. And for folks who are thinking about it as a full-time student, you could, if you're planning to work, that's going to be a decision that you'll have to make. And you know, students here from our panels probably can attest to this, but it is a very rigorous program to complete if you're planning to work full-time and go to school full-time.
I can try to give it a shot. Oh, Leah, do you want to go ahead?
You can go first.
I think I'm still calculating in my head. Okay, so I am a full-time clinical mental health student. I think every semester I've had 4 courses on an average, except for the last year, which is when we start diving into like internship and more practical applications of the program. Honestly, a lot depends on the professor, but I would say a lot of them are very engaging, very discussion forward. It's not very like lecture based that you have like sit down, take notes, absorb everything and reproduce. We barely have like 2 exams in all of the courses I've taken so far. A lot of it's just like discussion posts, having quizzes, trying to see how you engage with other people and how you build on other people's responses. I would say a lot of the assignments are also more reflective in nature and less research driven. So a lot of like checking your own biases, assumptions, your cultural values, how you interact with people around you. I think that's sort of the typical nature about working on the side. Well, as an international student, I could only work up to 20 hours a week, but I think that was more than manageable with the course load I had. Again, all the part-time jobs sort of recognize that you're a student first and they're not gonna hopefully overload you with their own work. But that being said, I personally enjoyed having a part-time job which was not related to counseling, just so I get a break from a certain way of thinking and I'm challenged in other areas of my life also. But yeah, I really don't have a good estimate of how much time I've spent on like classes and homework. I think it's very self-driven. Like you could do the bare minimum of like only doing assignments and not participating much in class, and nobody's gonna flag you. But if you're ambitious, if you want to take on more responsibility, there's so many avenues and opportunities that it's kind of a loss if you don't make good use of them. At least that's my personal takeaway.
Thank you, Ashna. Leo, did you want to add anything
Yeah,
to
sure.
it?
As a third years counseling track students, of course, full time. We share many of the class to the clinical track, like expect 3 class, I think. The foundation of counseling with adolescents and also school counseling leadership. I think that's only 3 classes, which is different from the mental health track. And the workload for me, I think I would say it is less than the undergraduate study, because in undergraduate study we may have more class than 4. Yeah. And also I find which is different from the undergraduate study, because in our program our class is a little bit small, which is less than 20 students. So it will have more discussion in the class. So you have more time where the more chance to explore yourself or discussion with your cohort. It's really training your spoken English. Yeah, I'm not a very good sample. For the workload for the 3rd years, for now, I came to my internship site for Tuesday to Friday. I came to there for 4 days because I need to stay the whole days to from the school. I mean the elementary school, my site, and also I take the class on Monday. I take 2 classes on Monday, and also spend that 4 days in internship, and also I have 1 online class. Honestly, it is tired because you need to transfer to someone else, and you need also to focus on your work or your assignment, but you will gain a lot from that.
Great,
all.
thanks, Leo. Anyone else want to add anything to it?
I mean, just for that, one thing that I'll add is just because for me this semester it's a little bit different because right now I'm only taking 3 classes instead of 4 because of how I took one over the summer. Now, even though that is an option for a lot of people, in my experience firsthand already so far in this semester, and also from what I've heard from like other people who have already taken a summer class, is that it is extremely helpful if you can. Now, that being said, obviously, if you can't, it's perfectly fine. And, from what I'm hearing, the work is still very manageable. It's just you have to add an extra course on top of it. Usually, what I hear is that when people do take a class during the summer, especially between their first and second year, it does kind of help offset a little bit of the stress and anxiety that comes from kind of just like the fall workload. Like in the 3rd semester. So I will say, like, I do think like taking a summer class, if it is feasible for you, especially considering that you do have to also consider the financial aspect of it all. But if it is possible for you, then I do think it is a good opportunity. And I will say, in terms of like the quality of the classes themselves, those do not change whether they're provided in the summer or in the fall or in the fall or the spring. It's still like really good, and it actually ended up being my favorite class, which who knows if it would have been the case on top of 3 other classes, but that's just something extra that I wanted to add.
Great, thanks, Sylvan. So to shift here, part of the program, right, includes a practicum and an internship experience, which some of our students here have already alluded to. So one of the questions that we have, and was also in the registration sheet, right, is can you share with us, right, where you're completing your practicum / your internship, and can you also share what that process looked like in securing that internship? Now, I believe 2 of you are in your 3rd year, so those of you who are in your 3rd year probably are better suited to answer that question, but those of you who are in your 2nd year, if you also want to share, maybe if you are starting to look, what that process is looking like for you.
Okay, this time I go first. Yeah. Okay, now I'm 3rd year, so I just experienced my practicum in last semester, and now I have my internship. My practicum is in the middle school in Baltimore City, and now I'm also in the Baltimore City, but in the elementary school, which is also the K-CRAPS requirement for us to feel experience in the 2 different age range. Like me, I choose middle school and the elementary school, or someone else may try to the high school and the middle school. And for me, I think my daily work is just like take the class and to do some individuals and group counseling with with students, and also cooperation with the teachers, the faculties, the coordinator, the principal, with something else. And the most of the part that I need, or the student need to do is to shadow with your supervisor to learn from them. And one surprising thing for me is that, okay, for last year, I'm in my practicum. I feel very disappointed and feel a little bit tired because I feel that, oh, I'm just as a shadow in that my side because no one know me, even though I introduced myself very many times. But at that time, when I go back to my apartment, which is in the bus, one of the girl noticed me and she told to her mom, "Hey, that's Mr. Leo. She take us a class." And that mom with that girl says thank you for me in that bus. It's really like me to feel that the things that I do in that practicum site is very valuable, and it really get off all of my bad emotions. So that's why I said you will get much, no matter in the knowledge or the experiences or your belief into continuing to do the counseling job in your future in that programs or in that field experiences.
Thank you, Leo.
I will steal the second, third year spot. I think as a third year, yes, this is when I'm mostly doing internship, but honestly, I think the process starts in the first semester, which is when we have the career fair and you like can interact with sites that come to Hopkins. And I think that's a good way of getting your foot in the door to stuff, seeing what the sites offer, what the supervisors are like, and what you are personally looking for. I think that's when I started looking for a practicum site. I did mine at a site called Leading by Example. It is in Nottingham and it's an outpatient clinical mental health program. So I work with teenager kids, adults. I think my youngest client is 7 and my oldest is 57. So it's quite the range, but depending on what you're interested in, you could work at a hospital setting, you could work in somebody's private clinic. In terms of hours, I believe practicum is 120. Maybe a second year can correct me because it's been a minute since I did practicum. But that typically starts midway through the program. So in your second year, second semester is when you do practicum. And the sites usually start in doing interviews, I want to say in the beginning of fall, so like August for starting practicum in Jan of the next year. For internship, we have to do 600 hours, but that is indirect and direct. So about 120 of them are direct clients. Our direct clients are, so that could be group therapy, couple therapy, individual sessions. I think similar to Leo, it's a good way of like gauging what population you're interested in. If you have a certain I don't know, skill set which is better suited for maybe kids or maybe mood disorders or something like that. But um yeah, even if you find, I know this is a lot of random pieces of information, but even if you find a site which you're interested in and that's a site which Hopkins hasn't worked with, they're happy to like approve that site, work with the supervisor as long as they meet the requirements of the K-CREP core areas, which is, well, a whole spiel in itself. But yeah, I would say the program is divided in a way that first half is you brushing up your theory, making sure that you know what you want to be when you see a client, and second half is just getting supervision, working with the clients, and being more hands-on and in the field.
Great, thanks, Ashna. For our other
Sorry, I
panelists, I
want to
know.
add some
Oh
comments.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I found that I lost some information. Sorry. For the counseling track students, our programs will help you to find the school that you want to go. The only thing that you need to do is to accomplish that application form, which contain your basic information, the districts that you want to work in, and also the age range that you want to work. Just to submit it in time, and our programs coordinators will have the communication with your district coordinator, and to help you to find the suitable school that you want to work in.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that, Leo. That's really important, right? we do, I know from the admissions side, we do tell students, right, we do expect students to take initiative, right, and it is your responsibility as a grad student to secure your internship site. But with that being said, it's not like we're going to leave you all kind of in the cold. And we do have individuals at staff level who help students and guide them to find an internship site that best suits you. So thanks for sharing that, Leo. Anybody from our second year group want to share anything if you're starting to look at internship sites? If not, perfectly fine. We can move on.
Yeah, so I actually already have a site procured. I'm just kind of like in the final steps of the application phase, which even though it can seem daunting, thankfully isn't. And we have a really good resource, Miss Donnelly, to utilize as well, who it kind of really helps like everyone in the program kind of navigate kind of the whole application process for practicum and internship. I'm personally going to be doing my practicum experience at the Baltimore County Detention Center, which I'm super excited about. And I initially heard about the center through kind of just like the list of different sites that we have like partnered with in the past on our like application like platform, I'm going to call it. So that's how I was able to find it. And the process was a little bit stressful at first, just because one thing that kind of slips a lot of people's mind is that you're also competing for these sites along with like a lot of other students from other universities. So that's something that can be a little bit stressful. Now, that said, just because we are Hopkins, that oftentimes will help us in our favor, just because oftentimes they'll see a student from Johns Hopkins and they'll think, oh, okay, we know that program is very reputable, it's very good, it's very kind of like just really good at drilling everything that they need to know. So that oftentimes like makes it a little bit easier to find a practicum site or an internship site. So that's just what I wanted to add as well.
Yeah, thanks, Sylvan. Yeah, go ahead, Lancelot.
Yeah, I just want to add maybe just one point because I'm a second year student now and I'm juggling down the process of, you know, practicum application. So basically just it's it's, exactly as Leo said, as a school counseling track student, we are much more easier than CMHAC student because they need to secure a practicum or internship site by themselves, but we will be assigned to our one of our top three preferred district. So we don't need to look for that by ourselves, but we just need to submit our documents like resume, cover letter, and also yeah, just like inference or
Oh, just it.
yeah, just it.
A resume
Right.
and cover letter.
Yeah,
Just that.
exactly. So it's simple. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. No, thanks, Lancelot. So I want to pivot here to talk a little bit about the School of Education and the counseling program when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as I shared earlier, right, part of our mission statement is to help individuals become socially just school counselors and clinical mental health counselors. So for the student panelists, right, I know some of you are involved in some of our DEI initiatives, but if you can talk a little bit about those DI initiatives that you're involved with and how you perceive your time here at Hopkins when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, both from a classroom experience, right, a faculty experience, and also your student body experience. And as folks are kind of thinking on how to answer that question, I will share that we do have a DEI office here at the School of Education. We are doing programming throughout the academic year. So it is something that the School of Education firmly believes in and does implement both for students and faculty when it comes to programming. So hopefully that gave some time for our panelists to kind of think of an answer, but I'll let whoever wants to go first go ahead and answer.
Okay, I don't want to keep that silence, so I go first. Honestly, I need to tell you all the truth that before I came to JHU, I never know what is DEI, but this program really let me to learn what is DEI and how that important is in our lives. I really want to mention about the class, like the diversity and the social justice, that all of us take that class, right? Yeah, and other class, I really learned the history and as a counselor, how can we advocate DEI, like the diversity, equity, and inclusive. And also in this, I also want to mention this program has a very inclusive environments. No matter my professors, also my cohort. Maybe you guys can hear that. Okay, my spoken English is not so good, but my cohort is always be patient and waiting for me to express myself very well. So yeah, and that's why I feel inclusive in this program. Yes.
Thank you, Leo. Anyone else want to answer? And if not, we'll go ahead and move forward. We could always circle back to it. So one of the other questions that we received, and if you all can talk a little bit about it, is the research experience, right? So the MS in counseling here at Hopkins is an applied based program, meaning that it's more focused on helping individuals become licensed or certified school counselors or clinical mental health counselors. Have any of you had any research experience outside of the classroom with faculty during your time here? And if so, can you talk a little bit about what that experience has been like? Yeah, go ahead, Lancelot.
I could talk about that because currently I'm doing 3 research projects at the same time. Yeah, just finished my literature review for one of them. Yeah, let me go through that. So you can see that research has been a big part of my journey here. Yeah, exactly. I first joined the qualitative project on international students' sense of belonging. So basically, it can draw back to DEI part because what we are doing is about international students' belonging, engagement, and career development. So basically, we would like to know how our international students what's going on in their life and how we can better support them. Because like we will do some focus group interview and coding our transcript sentence by sentence, and then we will conclude some theme from that code. Hopefully it will give us insight to how to support our student in our SOE program. And then in the research team, I will help with recruit participants, conduct focus group interview, and just like coding data use MakeQDA. Yeah, I just talked about before. So later, I also got invited to 2 more projects. One is on East Asian male international students counseling experiences, and another is about counseling trainings addressing anti-Asian racism. So you can see that there is obviously a big sign of DEI, like because this project have given me the chance to explore DEI issues deeply, while sharpening my skills like coding, semantic analysis, and literature review. So honestly, this experience has been invaluable for my PhD preparation and giving me more insight about DEI. And yeah, it's also meaningful because the findings directly inform programming to make students feel more included, feel more belong, and inclusive. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lancelot. Anyone else? I'm not sure if anyone else is involved in research or not. If not, it's fine. We can kind of move on from that. Sweet. All right, so we'll move on. So just an easier question, right? Hopefully to kind of settle some nerves here. the School of Education and Counseling, right, for the last, I don't know, maybe 2, maybe 3 years, has been in a temporary location at Mount Washington. And for our panelists here, that's for the most part all they've known when it comes to our physical building. But we are going to be moving back to the School of Education building at Homewood here in the spring. So I know staff and faculty are super excited, right, of regaining our space back. But students here, right, can you all kind of share some insight or anything that you're looking forward to returning back to the School of Ed building?
Yeah, I can go first. How can I say? I love Mount Washington because it's so easy to park my car. Yeah, so but at the same time, I'm also looking forward to, our new building. Yeah, I would like to have her see because they said it's really cool inside and it will give us more, space for studying. Yeah. Looking forward to.
I agree with that. I mean, I want to say I also agree that Mount Washington parking is really nice. But that said, one of the things that I'm looking forward to, like when we get to go back to the School of Ed building, is just kind of like having that like opportunity to have more study spaces available to us so that we can like feel more free to kind of just like stay around and do more work. Another thing that I'm also looking forward to is I feel like communication will be a little bit more streamlined with our professors. Right now, there's only a few professors who have offices at Mount Washington. But once the School of Ed opens up again, I'm pretty sure like a lot of the professors will have their offices back. So I'm really looking forward to having that more like face-to-face contact with them outside of the classroom. So yeah.
Well, different from other second year students because for me, the SOE building is more like my home field because I spent the first years as SOE building. So when last year I heard that okay, I need to move to Mount Washington, I feel very frustrated because I live very near the Homewood because I will just spend 5 minutes to get into SOE building. But when I need to go to Mount Washington, I need to take the shuttle, which may spend 20 hours. No, 20 minutes, sorry. 20 minutes. Yeah. I'm very excited to go back to my home field and to see what's changed and what's lived. And yeah, I think it will get a very strong connection with other part of SOE or JHU. So I'm really excited to go back to that building.
Yeah, I think absolutely agree with Leo. I also started at the SOE building, so I have good memories of the glass stained massive great hall and the big staircase, which I'm so glad they're keeping. I think it was fun being at SOE in the first year and then getting a taste of Mount Washington, which is a beautiful campus. Like you see deers just running across. But there's not a lot of people in Mount Washington. It's a little bit isolated. So I think the part that I'm most excited about is being close to Homewood, which is like the hub of all the undergrad energy and all the like events and all the central things happening. I think students, because the classes were in Mount Washington for like a year, 2 years now, a year. I think we were all dispersed around Baltimore, like people who were staying in Fed Hill, Fells Point, Homewood, even Mount Washington. But I think with classes being in one place, I'm hopeful that people move closer together and we actually use the resources of like, I don't know, going to the gym and using, I don't know, there's like cool events that happen at Homewood, which I'm hopeful people tend to like gravitate towards and I don't know, use like, I don't know. Those are so many benefits that we missed on. So I'm excited that it's gonna come back.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing, Ashna. And yeah, so for folks who are here at the webinar tonight, if you do start classes with us in the fall of 26, you will be at the School of Education Homewood campus, which again has been renovated. So we're super excited, and we're hoping that in the spring, as we move back to the building, we do hopefully start offering either admission tours or specific events to visit the campus for prospective students. So kind of moving forward here, I know we only have about 10 minutes left. Can each of you, or two or three of you, kind of share anything that you wish you knew before applying to Johns Hopkins?
For me, it's not just something that I want to know, because I think the progress to become anal to none is very worth for me. But I really want to give that maybe 2 years past of me. One sentence is that you will always have the right to make a deep breath, which means that be chill and be calm, and you will get what you want.
Yeah, go ahead, Lancelot. Or Sylvan.
So,
Sorry, I'll just quickly go. One of the things that I wish I would have also like maybe just considered a little bit more is just kind of like the area around Hopkins as well. Just because I feel like in order to fully make a decision, you have to consider all of the also environmental aspects to it. So I wish I kind of did a little bit more research in terms of like Baltimore, what options I had around in terms of like food, housing, things like that, just because again, it is like a city university. So because of that, things like housing could be a little bit more challenging to find depending on when you're looking to move in and whatnot. So I guess I just would have liked to do a little bit more research in terms of Baltimore and kind of like the surrounding area around Hopkins. But even then, it wouldn't have, you know, made my decision any different. So
okay. Um, it's very simple. Yeah, I just wish I had realized earlier how important to build connection, because because not just focusing on the classes, because your peers, faculty, and mentors are not just people you study with. They can become, lifelong colleagues and resources in the counseling field. You can always contact with each other and to find if you will share useful information with each other in the future. So, yeah, taking the time to connect and really learn from others makes the program much richer, I think. Thank you.
I agree with everyone. I think the only thing I wish I also did was talk to seniors, which sort of you all are already doing. So great job. Because I think that just gives you a flavor of how things are really on the other side and what courses they enjoy, what sort of professors to definitely look out for and, engage in those classes. But apart from that, I think everybody covered it really well. Like, yeah, you guys got this. Hope you choose Hopkins.
And one of the questions that I'm kind of seeing here, and if you all could, in your best way, without giving any responses in terms of what questions were asked, right? But maybe describe the process on how you prepared, right? As part of the admissions process is the interview, right? The interview that seems to cause a lot of anxiety, right? For the right reasons for a lot of our prospective students. Can you, either of you, share just some general insight on how to best prepare for an interview when it comes to a master's program like this?
one piece of advice that I like to give, I know perhaps not everyone may agree, but this is personally what makes me feel more confident going into an interview, is that I make sure to do my research not only in terms of the program, but also like research on myself. So what type of questions, if I were one of those like professors, would I want to ask a student? So I try to look for those answers within myself ahead of time. But then I also try to do a lot of research on the professors within the program themselves to kind of get an idea in terms of, oh, what are their research interests? What are the type of classes they teach? Things like that. Because at that point, when you go into the counseling interview, then you'll be able to kind of better tailor your questions based off of the program and the faculty, especially since they're going to be the ones like they're present to kind of talk to you, kind of get an idea of who you are as a person, whether you're right for the program. So kind of also understanding whether or not you feel like your personalities would work well with the faculty. So I think by understanding that and how to kind of adjust and adapt if need be, that'll definitely like serve you well within that interview.
Oh, you go first?
Oh, I have
Yeah,
something
yeah,
tiny,
please.
but I think asking questions is always a good start. Like even with Miss Napper, who I believe is the one who reaches out to all the first and prospective students, is always a good start. Like she's so resourceful, and I think a lot of clarification and confidence can come from just being respectful in what kind of questions you ask about, like, hey, what's the format? What can I expect? And they're usually happy to answer a lot of the questions. And I think not shying away from like building on other people and what they're saying, because I know in a group interview, it can seem like everybody's competing against each other and it's like Hunger Games out there. But I think if you show up authentically, I think that's pretty much the primary purpose of having a group interview in the first place. And if anything, you're also interviewing Hopkins at the same time and trying to see if they are the right fit for you and if they can help you grow and reach the whatever end destination you have. So it goes both ways, essentially.
Okay, my suggestion is very easy. Like, okay, trust yourself and don't give yourself many pressure because no one expects you to perform as a professional counselor because you are just a graduate from undergraduate study. So just to show you're enthusiastic about the counseling and to show your understanding of counseling, I think that's what our professors or someone else want to see, and I hope you will get the result that you really want.
Oh, thank you, Leo. What I want to say is pretty similar to you. Just like in the interview, don't panic, don't be stressed out, just bring your true self. Imagine you have been a, counselor, how you will react to the scenario. Just do it. Because I believe you have already have some knowledge about counseling this profession and have think about why you want to pursue counseling, right? So yeah, I don't think that's will be a difficulty for you to handle the scenario cases. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for sharing that. And, just to kind of add there, right, from my perspective, more as an admissions professional, I think attending and engaging in webinars like the student panel tonight, and in November, we're going to have a faculty panel, and then December, we'll do another just general info session. But engaging in these type of webinars, I believe, really prepares students to understand the program far more in depth than just reading the website. So I think, just stay engaged with us, attend our webinars. As I mentioned as we started the session, because I know we do have a lot of students here tonight, or today, I should say, but also who registered and aren't able to make it, who are international students. If you do want to attend more of a general info session where we talk about what requirements we ask for international students, such as doing your transcript evaluation, your English proficiency exams, right? I'll put that in the chat box there. The first one is going to be, I believe, October 10th. And again, we try to choose an hour that best works for all international students based on where they're at globally. But if you do also want to meet with me one-on-one to talk about the program, again, today's session was more so to hear about the student experience, but I know there were a lot of questions about, how is the program structured? Or the admission requirements, right? I do offer one-on-one appointments, which I'll add there in the chat box. So feel free to schedule a one-on-one with me. But that is all for tonight. We hope that you found this session helpful just to kind of gain a deeper insight from a student perspective. And I do want to thank our panelists here because I know you are super busy with your classes, homework, papers, internships. But I know giving an hour of your time means a lot to prospective students as they kind of navigate this process and find the program that is going to be the best fit for them. So, and that's truly from my perspective, right, is what we're here to do, is not just giving you the information on how to apply and what the program is for, but also giving you information on, to help you decide whether or not this is going to be a good fit for you. And obviously, if it's going to be a good fit for us. But other than that, we'll close this session. Again, thanks everyone for coming tonight, and I'll be sending out the recording within a few business days.